Hey everybody, inconsistent aspiring game developer here, and we're back and ready to continue. As for the general overview of this week, I've managed to make a couple of simpler systems that focus on making the game look and play more like a video game, as well as one super complicated system that took a majority of the time. And I'm still not entirely sure how it works, but we'll worry about that when we explain it later. So the first thing I did upon coming back was creating a game over screen, which was literally only 4 nodes. I don't know why I procrastinated it for this long. It worked by creating a separate scene that was a canvas layer, with a label and 2 buttons. Then we just quickly had to go back to my player depth function and set it to this code, which essentially just told the game to pass the spotlight over to my game over scene. Then, once you click the try again button, it would run this monster of a function right here, which basically just passed the spotlight back to my Node2D or world scene, which would reload the game. And, well, when you click the quit button, it quits the game. Yeah, I feel like I didn't need to explain that one. After that, I created an XP tracking system that could level me up if I reached a certain amount of XP. And while I could have pulled up a tutorial to make this, I figured that it was about time I make something myself. And that led me to creating this. I know this is probably the most bare bones system I could have come up with, but I mean, come on, look at it. It may not be much, but it's mine. Wait, I wonder if this is how my parents felt. For those who want an explanation, it essentially just adds 1 to my experience variable whenever an XP particle gets collected, and then if I have XP equal to my level rec variable, it increases my level by 1, sets my experience variable back to 0, and increases my level requirement variable by 2. God, I always feel so silly explaining stuff like that, because I know that a surprising majority of you guys watching this are seasoned developers or are working on your own games, and I'm just over here explaining why 2 + 2 = 4. But I still want to do it, just in case someone new comes along who would appreciate an explanation. I know a system like this alone won't work for a game like the one I'm trying to make, since as the game goes on and more enemies start spawning, the +2 experience for every level is just gonna matter less and less. But I think with some later adjustments, like making XP worth less as the game goes on, it could work, but I'll have to wait until I design the waves to start testing that. The next thing I did was setting up an XP bar at the top of the screen, which was even simpler. However, I will shout out this video by Brano, because of one part in particular that I would not have been able to figure out myself. Anyway, all you had to do for the actual XP bar was first make a canvas layer, attach to the player, and then attach a controller to that, which is just used to add some basic functionality to our UI. Then all we have to do to make the XP bar is make a progress bar and then set up function that will set its value and max value. Then whenever I gained XP or leveled up, I could substitute my experience and level rec values as the bar's value and max value. However, for the label that I was attached to, that was supposed to show my level and then update whenever I leveled up, I needed this line of code. For those of you who are like me and had forgotten what a string was, it just refers to text, apparently. So in this case, it's changing the text to say whatever number is stored in my level variable. Okay, now onto the big one. The last and most complicated thing I worked on was creating the level UI. And yes, you heard that right, just the UI. It doesn't even do anything right now. And it was still incredibly hard. But fortunately, it'll make setting up the actual upgrades later a lot easier. Once again, I have to shout out this video from the same series. If you plan on making this yourself, go watch this video. The purpose of my video is merely just to explain the code and show you how it works, not necessarily how to make it. But with that in the way, let's get into it. The first thing that we need to set up is the level panel. You know, the thing that pops up to show you your upgrades when you level up. Thankfully, this part is pretty easy, as all we have to do is create a panel node attached to our control and then add a label and box container node. And since we haven't covered it before, a box container is used to stack children on top of each other. Then we'll set it all as invisible so that it will always be on screen, and set its process mode to while paused so that we can still use it while the game is paused. After that, we need to make the upgrade options. So we're gonna make what I like to call a box with a bunch of text on it. Onto the code part, the tutorial wrote this. Now, this part actually looks a lot more complicated than it is, because all of this serves as a button system that checks if the mouse is hovering over it, and then if I click while hovering over it. The main part to take note of is this part right here, which connects our selected upgrade signal to our upgrade character function that's over in our player script. There is one more component here with the item variable, which I think is going to be used to tell the game which upgrade we chose, but I haven't set it up yet, so I'm not sure. Now that we have all the pieces, we just have to put it together. First, the level up function. As I mentioned earlier, you'll need to change the level label to match our current level. Then we need to toggle the level panel to visible, pause the game. After that, we just create a while loop to add 3 of our upgrade option scenes to the box container. And with that, our UI is technically done. However, there's currently no way to remove or unpause the game, which is where the upgrade character function comes in, which when activated slots all of our upgrade options into a single variable and then Q-freeze them, sets the level panel back to being invisible, unpauses the game, and then calculates any extra XP that we could have picked up that got stopped by pausing. And wow, that was a lot to go through. If you're still here, thanks for watching till the end. Next week, I'm going to try to tackle creating some basic stat upgrades, and then I might start working on something a little bit more specific to my game, meaning I won't be able to crush on tutorials as much. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you Monday. Peace.